Hello? Unpacking the Zuma factor. How the MK party won KZN. The rise of Jacob Zuma's Umkhonto weSizwe Party MK party has undoubtedly further exposed the cracks within the African National Congress ANC, not just in one of the country's most contested provinces, KwaZulu-Natal, but also in other parts of the country. Currently, with votes almost wrapped up in KZN, the MK party has 45.35% of the provincial votes, while the ANC has 16.97% nationally. The MK party has 14.7%, firmly securing third spot behind the DA's 21.6% and the ANC's 40.3%. The MK party's success has been largely thanks to Zuma, who interestingly enough is still a card-carrying member of the ANC and could be removed from the MK party's leader if the Electoral Court rules in favor of the party's founder, Jabulani Kumalo. But what made the MK party the favorable party in this election, and was it the Zuma factor? Speaking of IOL, political analyst Tobani Zikalala said the ANC, when it goes back to the drawing board, needs to consider how much it discounted the Zuma factor in South African and KZN politics. They could have managed it very early, but they did not. They maintained arrogance that no one is bigger than the party, but apparently it seems that the politics of personalities that is everywhere in SA is the idea of following personalities. This is exemplified by people like Jacob Zuma, who, no matter what they are politically, they have the majority's support, he said. Zikalala said Zuma is the most popular leader of the ANC post-1994, outside of Nelson Mandela, Chris Hani, Winnie Madikizela Mandela, and the like. The ANC should have gone back to previous elections results from 2009 and 2014 and saw how the emergence of Zuma as the president meant that the ANC got above 11 million votes, which are votes they last got in 1994 when Mandela was president. The other two elected presidents, Thabo Mbeki and Cyril Ramaphosa, did not get those numbers. The only person who gotten closer to Mandela's numbers in terms of votes is Zuma. They should have learned this and dealt with the Zuma factor very early, Zikalala said. Addressing the media as the National Results Operations Center in Gauteng, Inkatha Freedom Party leader Velenkosi Nihlabisa said the people and even ANC members are unhappy with the ANC. People who voted for the MK party are ANC's people who are disgruntled with the ANC. If you take the figures of 2019, what was achieved by the ANC, and look at leaders of the MK party and ANC, you will easily see it's two areas of the ANC split, he said. Speaking to Biz News Radio months before the elections, political analysts at the University of Johannesburg, Professor Theo Venter, said the formation of MK Party has taken the ANC by surprise. He added that with Zuma as the leader of the MK Party, it could impact the ruling party's support in KZN. According to an Ipsos poll last month, the official formation of the MP party in December 2023 had a profound effect on the distribution of support among the leading political parties over the last few months. According to the polls, the emergence of MK Party has halted the advances made by the Economic Freedom Fighters EFF in recent years, particularly in KZN, with some former EFF supporters migrating to the new party. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba conceded that the emergence of MKP took political parties by surprise. No one can dispute the impact of MKP, the party of a former president. I'm not sure if it has ever happened in the world, but with us, it has happened, he said. ANC loses 30% of National Assembly seats. MK Party gets more seats. Political parties are gearing up for coalition talks as the governing ANC looks set to fall well short of a majority for the first time in 30 years of democracy. With the results in most of the polling stations, the ANC had received 41.8% of the votes, a precipitous drop from the 57.5% it secured in the last national election in 2019. The three big parties seem to be the biggest losers in terms of seats in parliament. Among potential coalition partners, the DA was in second place on 22.6%, while controversies with MK, the new party led by former President Jacob Zuma, was at 12.2% and eating into ANC support, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, Zuma's home province. SA citizens came out in numbers this week to cast their votes in what has been the most contested election since the dawn of the democracy in 1994. The faces in the National Assembly, the 400 seats directly elected House of Democratic South Africa's parliament, are set to change. In what analysts do not see as a surprise, the governing ANC could lose at least 30% of its seats in the National Assembly, 70 of its previously held 230 seats. According to the analysts, the official opposition DA will get 80 seats as opposed by 84 previously. Julius Malema's EFF party sits at 38 seats as of last night, when the party had 900,000 votes. However, the newly formed MK party has already received 1 million votes, overtaking the EFF, which translates to about 40 seats. Analysts said as the vote count draws toward closer, the ANC could not claw back votes to win a parliamentary majority, but it may still end up gaining more than 42% of the vote. The real question is 42% or 44%. Rema Omar, Strategic Research Director at Citizen Surveys, told Reuters. Limpopo, Eastern Cape and Northwest are ANC's strongholds, and some votes still have to be counted from these provinces. Speaking to the Saturday Star, political analyst Luko Nankuni said the ANC poor performance came as no surprise. He said the party would have to take time convincing South Africans of their willingness to change and transform themselves over the next 5 years if its leadership remained the same. He added, the writing is on the wall for some major changes in order to ensure its renewal is genuine. There have been a lot of cries that the leadership is very weak and is not suitable to lead the ANC into coherence to ensure that the ANC is a coherent and united force. They have been seen as divisive, and they have been seen as flamboyant and arrogant and all these things. I think their poor performance is an outcome of that. The ANC, NEC at some point wanted to resign and have this leadership put under administration and have it disbanded. Mnguni said political leaders needed to do better in terms of how they respected the will of the people and treated them with respect. The people are showing us that they are not just voting cattle folders for political parties. They have proven that they can speak. They are not just there for the politicians to tell them what to do. It is clear that their support during campaigns was not genuine support because they never came to vote. When the ANC descended on KZN with Thabo Mbeki in tow, they thought everything was under control, but the voters in that province have taught them a lesson, he said. Another analyst, Jamie Mighty, said it was clear the future of some of the ANC leaders were on the line, including the future of the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa. The decline of the ANC at the polls is Cyril Ramaphosa's legacy, and I do not think he will survive the next 5 years as party leader. There is bound to be some reaction and he might be recalled, Mighty said. The ANC could not claw back up to win a parliamentary majority, but it might still end up gaining more than 42 of the votes. Meanwhile, DA leader John Steenhuisen, whose party is a member of the multi-party charter MPC, which includes, among others, Action SA, told reporters at the National Result Operations Center that he was disappointed with Action SA's performance. I am quite disappointed with Action SA. They told us they'll bring 10.56%, but it does not seem like that will materialize, and it's obviously disappointing. But honestly, it's still early. I think we have to wait for other results to come in, he said. Reacting to this, Action SA President Herman Masaba hit back, saying he was not happy with the DA and its performance in the elections. As things stand, the DA had just passed the 2 million marks with more than 62% of voting districts counted. I'm also happy with the DA and how it has performed. We must, as leaders of the MPC, go back to the drawing board. We are yet to have any discussions with other members of the MPC, he said. And that's it from Engines Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.